one thing that's very normal now in society is pride. Pride has become so normal that we don't even recognize it anymore. And again, like, nobody really talks about pride. And it's one thing that's affected a lot of people, not just now, but since the start of time. Pride is a big killer for a lot of people. Like, people get in wars because of words. That's how strong pride can be. It could be examples of wanting to be better than everyone, or refusing to apologize to people, even if you did something wrong to someone, always needing to be right. Pride and being prideful is such a dangerous thing, especially if you are like a Christian like myself, or Orthodox Christian. But pride is something that can make you feel like the biggest person in the world, and then literally can drag you down in a matter of seconds. That's what pride can do. And again, sometimes I feel like I fall into this thing as well. Sometimes pride can disguise itself as confidence, but it's completely different to confidence, because I feel like confidence can have a little bit of pride in it, but it's understanding your abilities. But being prideful is, again, literally the opposite of being humble. In some cases, even pride can prevent you from learning, because you feel like you know everything, and everyone, like, as I say, knows that person that feels like they know everything, and that's just a stubborn case of pride. It does make people hard-headed, it does make people stubborn, and you don't want to be in that category of pridefulness, because again, it is one of the deadly sins of having pride. It's not even a crazy thing to have pride nowadays in society. It's such an accepted thing. It's crazy, even now, think about it. It's a crazy society and world we live in now, where a lot of things are accepted like just normally, and pride being one of them. Like, even for me, I remember a time, I'll give you an example. I'll come back from work, this like maybe 1 a.m, and I went to a Macca's, a drive-through Macca's, and Macca's means Mickey D's, or McDonald's for anyone that's not Aussie. But I was in a drive-thru and I was stuck, like, basically, this is like 1 a.m, and it was packed, and I was going to my cousin's house. I was going to sleep over at my cousin's house, and I'd stopped at the drive-thru, but they told me, when they told you to go wait in the waiting bay, but the two people in front of me were letting me out. So some people behind me, there was, mind you, a long line. Some people behind me wanted to leave because they got their food, but I was the third person in the waiting bay. They only had 2 places, and an Arab guy. But I remember forget, like, people beeping, but I'm like, well, where can I go? Like, I'm stuck, because if I go out, like, basically I was holding up a line to a sense, and again, I didn't understand it, but I didn't do it on purpose, because I needed to wait in the waiting bay, because if I go straight, it's literally the exit way. Like, I would have to leave. I would have to go basically to the car park for the Maccas. So I was waiting, and then a guy came up, some old Arab guy, come up like a father of like 6 or something. He's like, if you don't move your car, I'm gonna break it in half, or like all this craziness. And I remember, at the time, I was kind of like, what the hell? Like, I didn't want confrontation, because there was a couple of boys that were coming over as well. I don't know, maybe one of these people. But pride nearly got the best of me in that time, because I really wanted to get out of the car and go berserk. Mind you, this is 1 o'clock in a car park that's like, again, I'm the early African. They're all Arabs, or like, Lebanese, or like Middle Eastern people. But I wanted my pride to take off. And it's one of the ones where when I drove off, I was pissed at myself. Like, why'd you drive off? You should have, like, basically had a swag with him outside. Doesn't matter if you got something happen, but that's what pride is. I could have been jumped just off my pride, and that's how dangerous pride is. Like, back then, I didn't know. This is a couple of years ago. Like, this was when I was, a little bit younger. But back then, I didn't even know. But now, I understood that it was pride that was hurting me, and it was the enemy that wanted me to get up out of the car and fight people, when it should have never been an option that came up. But what I did was I just drove, and I went to the exit. I had to wait a little bit longer because they couldn't find me in the car park. But still, like, sometimes you're going to be in the situations where you have to block out the noise of pride. It's the enemy that's in your ear. You think it's yourself, but it's the enemy that's in your ear. And when I say the enemy, people are like, oh, the enemy, Satan, or a demon. Them demons are in your ear telling you, because it's pride. Especially as a man, it's always pride that's going to hurt. Pride is always the downfall for a lot of men. Like, the strongest person in the room isn't necessarily the loudest person. I know it could always kind of feel like that. It can be the person humble enough to admit that they are wrong. That's the strongest person to me now, especially now as I get older. That's the strongest person. It's always a humble person that can listen before they speak and admit that they're wrong. So that's why even now I try to understand, if I'm wrong, I'll be like, hey, I put my hands up, I'm wrong. Which was hard for me when I was younger, because I had a lot of pride when I was younger. Even sometimes I can get caught up in the pride thing now, but I try to block out the noise, which is a big thing. And understand, when you're going through these emotions, or it happens every day in your life, something could happen, and it could be pride that could be making you not say sorry. It could be something that could make you not want to apologize to someone, or think you're better than someone. That's pride. That's literally what pride is. And even if you read it in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, it says that pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Pride is literally the step before destruction. It literally says it in the word. If you don't believe me, take the words. I've read like the whole scripture of Proverbs, and throughout Proverbs, pride is repeatedly contrasted with humility. pride is basically the opposite of being humble. Pride can make you believe you're invincible. It really can. Like, be careful right before you make the decision that destroys you. Pride goes before destruction. Deeper. Pride goes before destruction. It's one step from destruction. And if people knew that pride was just a little box that had destruction inside it, would understand. You'll be a better person. So yeah, be more humble. I know sometimes people say, like, talk your she, or talk your shit, or act coggy. But man, be humble. At the end of the day, no one gets hurt, and you can still pop when you need to pop, but do it out of humility. Don't let pride destroy you.